You know, the president is out today giving some stupid speech on how, finally, now all of a sudden he cares. He's giving some stupid speech on how college education has gone up 250%. I got news for you, Mr. President. Since you got in office, it's gone up a lot more than 250%. And we've been telling you about this while he was talking about healthcare. Education was going up in cost much faster. And why? Well, because we took it out of the free market system. It's been going through the roof ever since, the 1960s, when we started to say the government will give you special loans. They'll guarantee, they'll make it cheaper for you to get a loan and everything else. We always had college education. We've had college education, good college education, since the beginning of this country, since before the beginning of this country. What do you think Harvard was? Harvard didn't start yesterday. Didn't start in the progressive era. You know, Harvard started in the 1700s, or was it in the 1600s? I mean, Harvard's been around for a long time. Same thing with Yale. It's been around for a long time. It was there during the Revolutionary War. How come everybody could afford it before? How come the Ivy League was relatively affordable compared to now? Well, because nobody was guaranteeing loans. And not everybody went to college. And not everybody should go to college. Not everybody needs to go to a 4-year college. You see what they're doing with interns now? He's going to talk. I don't know who he's going to blame it on, because the only reason why college expenses have gone up is because of the universities. They're gouging people. They're gouging their eyes out. There's no reason it's that expensive and that much of a failure. If it was a free market system and you didn't believe the bull crap that the politicians and the elitist universities were trying to sell you, that you have to do it this way, you have to go through this gate. If you didn't believe that, they wouldn't be able to charge this. But you see what they're doing with interns now, except for the White House, who work, I believe the average intern works 45 hours for free at the White House. Why? Well, we're giving them an experience they wouldn't be able to get anywhere else. Really? Gee, do you think so? Do you really think so? Well, how about if I have an intern? I can give them an experience they won't be able to find anyplace else. I can have them intern here. No. I've got to pay my interns. You want to send them any business. You want them? You have to pay for them now. Well, what about, did you hear about the intern that was suing, what was his name? Sean Combs? He's working in the fashion industry. You know how many people would break their own arm for a job to work in the fashion industry in New York, just to get a break to get in. They would do anything. Well, this intern gets in, is working for Sean Combs, and sues because they were asked to get a cup of coffee. Get the hell out. Get the hell out.
Well, this is what progressives do, right? They remove competition. They have this structure built with universities, which they get to indoctrinate everybody. Mm-hmm. And when the only way you can really learn an industry without going there is to get an internship and work your way up. Well, if you remove companies' incentive to do that, then you control everything.
And you notice that you have to be going to a university or a college to become an intern.
Yeah,
I can't just say, hey, you want to learn this? Come on in. No. You have to pass through the portal of an educational system to be able to come in here and work. I understand. We don't want anybody working slaves. We don't want anybody, indentured servants. We don't want any of that. I got it.
Is that true? Because that's how I started my career with you. I just want to make sure that's a new policy on your
I'm sorry. I was just over to your enormous house.
I was asking a question.
I'm sorry that your indentured servitude for 2 years was so horrible that you have an enormous house with a pool that my wife, when I left, she was like, I want a pool more like that.
My point, though, is I know you're busting on me, but my point is exactly that.
Right.
If this was a path I chose to work my butt off for free for several years, and you were very upfront with me. You said, look, this is going to suck for a while. What's going to happen in the next few years is probably going to suck. But if we can stick with it, work hard, and on our own merit, make this into a giant company, someday you'll be rewarded. And you know what? It worked out because we worked together really hard to put something together like this.
And we both are men of our word. You worked hard. You told me you would do certain things, and you did them. And you were good, and you learned, and you listened, and you wouldn't have, if I would have said, go get me a cup of coffee because I was working.
I
go
did
get me a cup of coffee.
many times.
Yeah, you would. Well, not coffee, but
no. Well, this is back in the day.
Oh yeah, actually, I probably did. You did.
Yeah.
You actually did go get coffee.
Yeah, and lots of sandwiches.
Yeah,
and
okay,
lots
all
of
right.
donuts and
But
lots
anyway,
of eclairs.
Whatever. But we would have done it, and I would have done it for you.
Sure.
If you were busy working, I would have done it for you, and we have, and I did.
Mm-hmm.
At 13 years old, I'm working at a radio station. I can't. Can I work at it? Could I hire?
I'm sure no.
Could I hire a 13-year-old today? Could I hire a 10-year-old today? I would love to hire some kid that had the same desire. I saw a kid here at the studios one day. He was sitting out on a bench, and he was here with his mom and his I think his brother. And he said, I said, what are you doing? I just walked over. What are you doing here, kid? And he stood up, and he had a suit on, and he shook my hand, and he said, I'm so and so, and I want to be a TV broadcaster. And I said, good for you. And I sat there and I talked to him for a while. Now, I can't hire him. I can't have him walking around doing stuff. That would of course, that would be illegal. That would be horrible. I would have loved to hire that kid. I would have loved to put him in an entry role and say, you're going to learn absolutely everything about television. I want you to stand next to the camera. Whatever that camera guy tells you to do, you do what that camera guy tells you to do. I mean, unless he's like, and come on over here.
Unless his name is Bob Filner.
That's right. Unless he's a progressive Democrat that happens to be running a city or in Congress. You go and do it. And have that kid learn. Do you know at 17 years old, a kid like that would own the industry? And I would gladly do that. But the government won't let me do that. Why? There's too much money to be made in education. There's too much power to be gained if we can just churn out a bunch of rubes.